Hi guys, welcome to day 2 of our 11-day emotional detox. Before I get started with our meditation, I just wanted to share with you an example for the homework, my example from my experience doing it. And I thought this would just help for those of you who might have questions about what I mean when I say going back to the first time you've ever felt grief and looking at the messages you received about the grief and then replacing the message. So I'm just going to make this really quick, but for me, when I tuned in to my experience and the first time I ever felt grief, I immediately went back to, my consciousness just immediately brought me back to the time when my mom was sick. My mom died of cancer when I was 12, and about the year before she died, when things got really bad, is when I first started experiencing a lot of grief because she was gone a lot and no one really explained what was going on, and I knew pretty much what was going on, but it just never was really clear. And I was acting out a lot, just doing things for attention because I wanted my mom. And the adults around me, my siblings were, I'm the youngest of 8 kids, so my siblings were all in their own grief and obviously kids themselves, so not really knowing how to deal with it. And my grandparents lived with us at the time. My mom's mom, she came to help my mom, and she just pretty much treated us all like, get out of your mom's way. You guys are the ones that, let's make it as least stressful for your mom as possible. And you guys are stressful. If you have a need, it's stressful. So don't have any needs and don't, and she didn't mean to. I think in her mind, she was just trying to do the best she could. But so when I tuned into the grief, I immediately felt that experience. And when I asked myself what the messages were that I received about my grief, it was that it's not important. Those are the words that literally came to my mind. It's not important. And when I felt the message, it was the first time I really ever asked myself in that way. I mean, I've looked at this before. I've worked through my mom's death. I've been in therapy about it, but I never really had isolated what that message was that I received from that time in my life. And when those words just came to me, like I didn't even have to think about it, I asked myself, what message did I receive at that time? And it just came up almost instantly. It's not important. Like grief is not important. And hearing it come up that way, just I could feel the power of that message and the way that it affected me throughout my life. And so because I imprinted that message so strongly, which is what happens when we're children, because we're open. And so the messages we get, we take as true. So because I believed that, because I received that message throughout my life when I went through hard times or had needs or felt my heart grieving, I deep down believed it wasn't important. And so I never really allowed myself to fully feel the grief. I would somewhat allow it and then feel guilty about it, feel guilty about having grief, feel guilty about feeling bad. And the message was just get over it. And that message continued also because I moved in with my dad after my mom died. They were divorced. And he pretty much gave me the same message. It's not important, because he never asked me about it, never acted like it mattered. And just really even verbally would say to me, things like, you're just trying to get attention. That's why you're acting sad. So all that to say is when we can identify where the messages come from, we can, especially as adults looking back, I can easily see that not only was that message damaging to me, but it affected me throughout my whole life and the way that I've dealt with my emotions and my heart and my grief. And so when I do this meditation, what I'm doing is going into the heart chakra, going into that space where I implanted the message that it's not important, and I'm removing the message. I'm allowing it to be cleansed out. And then the most important thing is I'm replacing that message with the belief that my grief matters. My grief is important. My grief is valuable. Because as I said in the email, grief actually opens the heart chakra when we allow ourselves to feel it fully, because it contracts our heart. Our heart sort of closes up when we feel grief. But then when we release it, we expand that much more. Contraction and expansion. And it's the contraction that helps us expand to the next level. And so grief serves a purpose, and it's part of why we came here. We came here to grow and have our hearts grow, and we grow through contrast and through experience and what we learn through those experiences. And so going back to yesterday's message when I talked about looking at your life, and particularly 2018, but your life in general, and asking yourself, what lessons have I learned? And making sure that you integrate the lessons and say to the universe, thank you for these lessons. I receive them. I allow them. I'm ready to move on to my next lessons. So I just wanted to give that example before we move on to the meditation. And so just if you want to put it on pause at this point and get into a comfortable space and allow yourself to, as I said yesterday, have your spine straight. Make sure you're either sitting up straight or laying down if you have a hard time sitting up straight. But just make sure the energy in your spine is aligned, because we're working with powerful energy here. And I want you to know that you can take this meditation to your own level. So if it helps you to do the guided meditation with me, do it that way. But you can also just listen and then do your own version of it, whatever feels comfortable. Just work with what you truly feel. Sometimes guided meditations work well for me, and sometimes I feel like it gets in the way of what my intuitive mind wants to do. So don't feel obligated to do it this exact way. So get in a comfortable space, and then I want you to just take 3 deep breaths, really deep into your heart chakra and into your lower chakras. Just grounding your energy and becoming aware of your body and just relaxing. Now I want you to imagine dropping down into your heart chakra, as we did yesterday, into that center of your heart where all things exist. And just feel yourself inside that space, the source of who you are, the Holy of Holies. This space is pure light and infinite potential. This is the place where we can reprogram, reset, restructure, rebalance, rejuvenate. Allow your whole body to sort of dissolve into the light that's around you. And I want you to imagine yourself back into the garden where you planted your seed yesterday. And know that in this space, in this garden, there is no time. So eternity exists. Eternity can exist in an hour or in a day. And a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is like a day. Infinite time here. Imagine yourself right back in the space where you planted your seed yesterday. And because this space is infinite, you now see a tiny little sapling coming through the ground. The inner workings of your innermost being and the magic of the universe has already begun to bring forth fruition from your seed. Just a little sapling. And you see how at this stage it's delicate and it's vulnerable. And I want you to just imagine projecting your heart energy around this sapling. Just that protective love for this new energy that's blossoming in your life. Now I want you to tune back into your heart chakra, stay in the garden, but just really feel into your heart, into that space that you tuned into where you experienced grief. Tune into where your heart has experienced grief, where your heart has been broken. And I want you to just feel the vibration of that heartbreak. I want you to just tune into the energy of grief. And feel into the energy of the message you received about your grief. And imagine just filling that with light. And just see that energy of any negative messages or programming that you received dissolve into light. And now think about the message that you replaced it with. My grief is powerful. My grief is my teacher. My grief expands my heart and my trust in Source. The infinite love of Source can heal all wounds and cure all curses. Whatever you feel appropriate to replace this message with, just feel into that energy and fuse it with the light. And see that light emanating from your heart chakra. Just feel your heart chakra expand and open, and the light from Source begin to come through it and expand all around you, encompassing your entire body and fusing with your electromagnetic field. And as the light fuses with your electromagnetic field, your entire program shifts to abundance, to the feeling of infinite love, infinite safety, infinite protection. Feel how your soul is limitless, and feel into the eternalness of your being, that pure light of Source that is you reflected in this form, in this spirit. Now I want you to imagine yourself, just look again at the garden around you. Feel yourself within that beautiful garden where souls are growing and expanding and blossoming. And I want you to look up into the sky and imagine that a being is coming from the sun, emerging from the sun, as if coming through a portal and coming right down to you. And as this being gets closer, you see that it is a beautiful woman, the creatrix, the goddess of all creation, and the protector of the heart. And as she comes closer to you, you notice that she has a beautiful white, golden rainbow flame in her hand. This flame feels entranced. It feels enchanting. It feels magical. You feel the power and energy of it. This is the energy of all life. This flame represents the flame of your own spirit, of your own life force, and the uniqueness contained within it. And as she comes towards you, she hands you the flame. And you feel and notice that it's hot but cool to the touch. You can feel both the heat and the power, but it doesn't hurt you. In fact, it energizes your entire being, your entire electromagnetic field. You feel your body light up as you receive this flame. And now imagine that you place that flame inside your heart. And as it enters your heart chamber, you feel life spark within you. The familiarity of this other half of you, your twin flame, your light. This thing that has felt you've been separated from is now back with you. And you feel that energy empower and strengthen your heart. It's okay if it feels a little uncomfortable at first. Remember, your heart has contracted and now is expanding. And just allow this energy to move through your body. As you feel it in your heart chakra, feel the energy expand and radiate all around you. Again, fueling your electromagnetic field and amping up the energy of abundance within you. The abundance programming, the programming of infinite possibilities, of infinite source, of unconditional love and compassion. And just feel how you are supported and loved by Source. Now you look to your left side and you see again that beautiful watering can made of sunlight. And this time within that watering can contains the tears you've cried throughout your entire life experience here. All the grief, all the pain, every amount of energy that you have released from your body through tears, through the magical power of tears, is in that watering can. And the light of the sunlight, the light of the watering can, is transmuting all negative energy experienced from that grief and creating a beautiful, powerful, liquid diamond energy of transmutation. These tears of water create an iridescent rainbow energy of light, diamond in nature. And as you pick up that watering can, you allow a few drops to nourish your new sapling that has come from the seed you planted. And as you allow a few drops on that sapling, you see it light up. You see it encode that information. You feel the intelligence of that sapling grow and expand. And you feel the satisfaction of knowing that your experiences have created a new energy on the planet, a new wisdom, a new expansion, a new color, a new flower, a new energy signature of heaven on earth. Now I want you to take the hand of the woman who gave you the flame and rise with her above the garden and see how beautiful it is. Take an aerial view of this garden and know that this garden contains the seeds of everyone else in this class and who will ever take this class or plant their own seed of wisdom and invest it into the abundance matrix, into heaven on earth. And feel how the experiences of everyone and the talisman of wisdom that they have received from those experiences makes the garden more beautiful. Feel the vibration this power is putting on the planet, is programming into the earth. Feel the strength of it. Feel the hope of it. Feel how you are connected to everyone's pain and everyone's joy, and the gift that comes from the transmutation of sorrow into peace and into bliss and into wholeness and into heaven. And just take a moment to appreciate contrast. It is the contrast of these experiences that allowed us to see all of these vibrant colors that exist between black and white, all the shapes, all the exotic scents. Just appreciate the experience, the beauty that is cultivated from experience. And now, release the hand of the woman and allow see her move back up into her portal, into the sunlight. And then you come back down into your body. And just move your hands, move your fingers and your toes. Take a deep breath. Really allow yourself to integrate the light that has been infused into your body and into your heart and into your electromagnetic field. And know that this is always with you and is available to you to connect with at any time you so need it. Know that this garden is protected by all the guardians of light, all of our guides for life and wisdom and experience, and all of the magic contained within the earth. And just take a second to tune into the heart of the planet. Just feel your connection to nature. That nature is sustaining your life force and your garden, and is also being transformed by the light, by the experiences, by her own grief. Just take a second and thank the earth for being the womb in which you can grow. Now open your eyes and take on your day with more light, more courage, more strength, and more joy.